So far away, Lucas, I need to disappoint you once again by saying that I've watched another show instead of watching One Piece.
God damn it.
So do you know, like, My Hero Academia is kind of like airing like the latest season, and they're doing the anime thing of, hey, we're not doing episodes every week, we're going to randomly put a 3-week gap for no reason.
Oh no, are they?
Doing that thing, yeah. So while I was waiting for new episodes of My Hero to come out, I started rewatching Yu-Gi-Oh!
And you didn't just think about starting up an episode of One Piece? No.
No.
Okay,
It's
fine,
Lucas.
fine.
I was in the mood to duel.
It's time to duel!
So specifically, we're talking today, Lucas, about the character Seto Kaiba from Yu-Gi-Oh! And what do you think about Seto Kaiba from Yu-Gi-Oh?
I mean, it's a pretty ballsy character to just, like, you know, decide to play all 3 Blue Eyes in one turn.
Wait a minute, you just summoned a bunch of vaginas in one turn? Yeah, so vagina? That's against the vagina, isn't it? Screw the vagina, I have a vagina!
It's what an absolute legend, yes. But for first, though, for anyone unfamiliar with the series and what we're doing here, this is Wiki Weekends, the series where I, your host for this episode, Lucas will be presenting the one that goes up tomorrow, unless your PC dies again, mate.
I'm going to
There's always a chance.
Hope it doesn't.
There's
Don't
always a
say
chance.
That.
Well, you know, I will scour the lengths and breadths of the internet for a wiki on a subject I'd like to talk about with my co-host, Lucas Holland.
Hello there.
And then we go through it. But Lucas, yeah, I was just rewatching, like, do you know the first season of Yu-Gi-Oh! Where it's just so stupid? Where they play, like, this literal children's card game off as being the most serious shit in the world. And you have, like, Seto Kaiba, the topic of today's video, like, the billionaire polymathic genius, being like, I lost at a children's card game. This is now my only obsession.
But how? How could I have lost to him?
And you say, like, the first season's the one that takes it super seriously. By the end of, like, the stuff that's in Yu-Gi-Oh! With, like, Kaiba and Yugi, isn't it to do with, like, the fate of the end of the world or something?
Yeah, so, you know, to clarify, you know, the series does have stakes, but those stakes aren't really present in those first few episodes, which makes the fact they're taking the game so seriously all the more hilarious. Of course, you should be taking a card game seriously when, like, you know, in later episodes, you might get sent to the Shadow Realm. I'm going to take that game seriously. But
yeah.
when it's just like the first episode and just Kaiba walks in and is like, hey, old man, give me your blue eyes. Like, no. He's like, I'm going to go and buy it anyway. I'm a billionaire. Fuck you.
Cursing, spoiled again. I'm going to go hire some vaginas to kidnap you now. I'm a billionaire, so nobody will even think about my vagina.
But it's like, I believe the manga was originally envisioned to be a game series, right? Like, each season would be based on a different game, so they kind of pivoted, and it makes sense that the first few episodes are weird.
For anyone unfamiliar with what Lucas is talking about there, my understanding of it is that the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga was going to have a new game every arc. However, the card game got really, really popular, so much so that they ended up creating the card game in real life. So they quickly pivoted back to the card game, and that's what the manga became, which is why you have that weird, like, just pivot to, like, dice monsters for a little bit.
I don't care what people say, that would be a terrible game. However, I did enjoy those couple of episodes.
That kind of makes sense when you realise that Yugi's title is the King of Games, but he only ever plays one game. So why are you the King of Games and you only play this card game? Admittedly, you're very good at that card game because you totally cheat. But title of King of Games doesn't really work when you're only good at one game. And I guess Dungeon Dice Monsters, which is supposed to be the thing, and then the next season it'd be another game.
How much would Kaiba just kick Yugi's ass if he'd gone and bought a Millennium Piece?
It's more, why doesn't Kaiba just kick his ass? 'Cause he's like a clear 3 foot taller than Yugi is.
Take it easy, Joey. But Yugi, Kaiba's asking for it.
Now, does this shop have any worthwhile cards or not?
It does look like an adult is fighting a child.
It really does. It looks like Kaiba, especially as well when every other character on the show is like played as a high school. I know Kaiba is supposed to be like a high school age student as well, but he's like the CEO of a company. But it really does look like an adult man who's just salty about losing a game with a child.
Winners will be handpicked by me. Then your cards will be launched into space on a Kaiba Corp satellite. 'Cause I figure, if there is intelligent life out there, then let's teach them how to duel.
But Lucas, so that we're all on the same page, particularly this Wikipedia page, and we'll go through the intro to the wiki entry for Seto Kaiba on the Yugi fandom. And we start with a quote. I am the #1 ranked duelist in the country and the favourite to win the Duel Monsters Championship. You wouldn't last 2 minutes in a duel against me. Now, that's a good quote, but it's not the Kaiba quote, right? Because the Kaiba quote is, you're a third-rate duelist with a fourth-rate deck. And have you ever heard the breakdown of that's actually a compliment, although it's very backhanded, which is fitting for Kaiba, because he says third-rate duelist, fourth-rate deck, which means that you are better than your deck is, by a noticeable degree, because you're a third-rate duelist and your deck belongs to a fourth-rate duelist, but you still suck compared to me.
You're a third-rate duelist with a fourth-rate deck.
Yes, and then ultimately, it's Joey that you're saying that to, right?
Yes, it's actually Joey saying both of those quotes too. Because he fucking hates Joey.
And anyone who's late for registration will be disqualified. Mokuba, make sure Wheeler's late.
Which we talked about on the Joey episode a few years ago.
He dunks on Joey a lot, but at the same time, Joey puts up a good fight. He normally makes it to close towards the end of the tournaments and stuff.
The episode I watched yesterday is where he's Joey, because I was in the group chat and I kept sending in the weird picture of Marek. So I was up to the episode where it's Joey dueling a guy who has a counterfeit Egyptian god card. And he wins. He wins because he gets struck by lightning and stands back up. He survives getting struck by lightning. God lightning! And even Kaiba's okay, I can't front. The guy did get struck by lightning and walk that shit off. That's pretty baller.
Please be careful.
Joey! How many life points do you reckon in real life getting struck by lightning does to you?
Well, I know the answer in the show, and it's nearly all of them. Because Joey's on 200 life points when it happens. But, we have some basic biographical information about Kaiba here. So, name, Seto Kaiba. Birth, October 25th. Height, 6'1". Which what makes it hilarious is he towers over every other character in the series. Which just makes it look, he's an adult picking on children.
It really does look like it.
Yeah, and his favourite food is filet mignon with foie gras sauce. So he's that's so much animal on one plate. Also, he's rich. do you get that he's rich, Lucas? His favourite food is filet mignon with foie gras sauce.
It's you got to make sure it's a very fancy sounding meal. It's yeah, I get it. He's got some money.
Yeah, and then his occupation is chairman and CEO of Kaiba Corp and the owner of the Duel Academy.
And, proud father of the PlayStation 5.
I was going to say he looks like a PS5, right? Wasn't that the first thing when the PS5 came out? People was lazily photoshopping Kaiba's head onto it, and it fits so well.
It does look a little bit like Kaiba.
It looks so weird. You've got the big old pop collar, right? And you mentioned it. So, Seto Kaiba is one of the main characters of the Yu-Gi-Oh anime. He is the older brother of Mokuba, and shout-outs to Mokuba, who in every single Yu-Gi-Oh game is just free cards. Yeah. Mokuba's just such a good source for easy wins and free cards, right?
Yeah.
So whenever you see him on the map in one of those Yu-Gi-Oh games, you zero in on him. You become Kaiba as that bullying that child for his cards.
I played a lot of the Game Boy Advance games when I was younger.
It's Duel Memories, right?
No, I played the World Championships games or whatever, whether it was Battle City Arc, and just every time Mokuba pops up, it's oh look, a free deck.
It's
a free pack of cards.
I'm not gonna make it!
Guess again! Catch!
This is a deep pop. That reminds me of the PlayStation 2 game Juiced. And did you ever play Juiced?
I did not play Juiced.
Juiced was a game very clearly released to capitalise on the success of things like Need for Speed. Mm-hmm. And the Fast and Furious movies where people were just all in on just racing and customising cars. And that game actually had a pretty interesting system in it where you could pink slip race other racers. And if that happened, people don't know pink slip is you race for the car. And if you lost, you'd legit just lose your car. Straight up, and the AI would take your car, and you have no car. And me and my little brother will play that game all the time. My little brother absolutely adored that game and figured out that the best way to pink slip someone is keep calling them and then ducking out if they don't challenge you to a drag race. If they challenge you to a drag race, immediately crash into them second one and then just nitrous to the finish line. And I just remember my little brother, whenever he needed money, he's like, well, better go pink slip TK, who's like the first guy you fight, and he would just go pink slipping 15 times, sell all of his cars, and then just fuck off.
He's just there with like his empty garage, like, no.
But I was thinking the idea of, though, because I think if you do it too many times to the character, eventually like, nah, man, no, you're too raw. Call me back when I've built up some more cash.
That's the thing, after the first couple of times you do a drag race with someone, and they immediately crash into you instead of racing, like, you stop taking calls.
But so I remember, like, in one of the Need for Speed games, they have, like, the cross-country race that you can do in one of them. And I think really early in the game, you get, like, a free car voucher. And they expect you to use that straight away. And I said, no. I saved that free car voucher till halfway through the game, till, like, the store starts having, like, Lamborghinis and shit in it. And I remember, if you go use the free car voucher on a Zonda, I'm not sure what the brand maker is, but it's like, I remember being like a super high-end supercar at the time. It was worth like £1 million in-game. And when you turn up to a race in that, the announcer just says, are you kidding me? They legit comment on the fact that you've just turned up in this like $1 million supercar to race against like a fucking Ford Escort with a body kit on it.
Yeah, I think it's like a Pagani Zonda.
Pagani Zonda, there we go, yes.
Yeah.
And someone had texted me earlier that he'd be driving a Zonda today, but I didn't believe it till I saw it myself. I mean, it's sitting here, and that thing does 0 to 60 in 3.5 with a top speed of 214. Seriously, that thing is off the chains.
Any stories like that of going into a game and just beasting on like the really shit AI?
Oh man, I mean, like, I just remember going to the like all the like low level routes on Pokemon on the games where you could get like, you know, the versus recorder.
Oh yeah.
And you just like, oh, absolutely mill for money on like these small children. You just find like the equivalent of Rich Boy Winston who just gives you like the $1,500.
Thing is though, I've got a comment on the fact that Rich Boy Winston is the biggest G in the Pokemon universe, because he's the guy who uses a full restore, which costs like $3,000 in game, on his level 7 Zigzagoon. What an absolute dot. He truly is the Rich Boy Winston. But I thought you were going to talk about your, oh god, what's the technique in Scarlet to just win infinite money that you did?
Oh god, I did do that, yeah.
You got your Sylveon, it's like, go on Sylveon, go work the pole, earn daddy some cash.
Yeah,
do you want to explain that?
Yeah, if you finish the DLC, it is a little bit different, but I've prioritized not finishing the DLC so I can still abuse it.
Yeah, so this is a thing you can do in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet to essentially earn infinite money.
Yes, you can do a very specific build that people figured out on Sylveon, where you have like perfect IVs on it and train it very specifically with like the right nature and the right EVs and stuff. And you give it an amulet coin and you put Hyper Voice on like the first move, and you can then just press A and it is guaranteed, regardless of luck, it will always win the tournament. And like, I've literally got a turbo button controller where just I can set it to turbo, just put my switch down and just let Sylveon earn me money for hours on end.
So basically you just do like the final like tournament in your school over and over again, and the Sylveon is set up in such a way where it will never lose, and just pressing A on every single opponent will win. So, as Luke said, he bought a turbo controller, turned it on, and just like, Sylveon, earn daddy some cash. And you come back, like, you know, a couple hours later, Sylveon's earned you like 40 billion Poké Dollars.
I remember on stream people, like, knowing that I've mentioned, oh, I've got a lot of money in Pokemon. I'm like, oh, yeah, you've got quite a bit of money, but, like, I thought you'd have more. And then I opened up my like bag, and you just see how all like the proteins and the vitamins and stuff that I've got. Of like, why have you got 500 of each one? That's insane.
Exactly. Just I love the idea as well of like in that game. It's like, okay, I need to train up my Weedle. Just feed it 500 proteins. This poor Weedle. Well, yes, you know. Speaking of Kyber, I'm getting back to him now. Adopted into the Kyber family as an orphan, Kyber is at the helm of the world's largest multinational gaming conglomerate, Kyber Corp, serving as its majority owner and CEO. An intellectually gifted and innovative computer programmer, engineer, and inventor during his youth, he invented virtual software for playing video games as a young child prodigy. And that's the thing, right, of like, he invents virtual technology and then uses it to play video games.
Duelists from around the world. What you just witnessed is but a taste of the technology possible with my new dual disc.
I mean, that's the ultimate move, right? Is like he invented this super cool like VR hologram tech that you see them use to play Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and like
constantly improves. He constantly tinkers with it. Don't feel like the first time like Yugi sees it and he's like, "Wow, this is amazing." He's like, "It's the absolute pinnacle of Kyber tech." Then the next episode is like the dual disc that you frisbee, and he casually mentions of like, oh yeah, it even recreates the smell.
For my battle ox! Whoa, check out all those lights! It's like raining glitter!
The smell that the thing would give off. And then in the next arc, like where they've got the fucking dual discs, where they're wandering around with that shit, they hurt people. Like, these holograms have like the physical capability to do harm to the people that they hit.
So realistically, he should just be running around threatening people instead of like mugging people with a knife. He could just mug them with a Blue Eyes Ultimate.
Yeah, well, he does that, doesn't he? There's the episode where he's in Battle City where he's trying out Obelisk the Tormentor, and he challenges the guy in an alleyway, summons Obelisk the Tormentor in one turn, and the guy just gets like obliterated. He's like, he is a billionaire CEO wandering around. He's like what Batman realistically is of. He's a billionaire CEO wandering around beating up poor people in an alleyway to feel good about himself.
I just need to play a single card to teach you a lesson you won't forget. I summon Obelisk the Tormentor. Attack now!
Well, and bear in mind, he owns Battle City, right?
Yeah, he owns Battle City.
Like, he literally either already owned it or bought a city to be like, hey, everyone come to my city to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Under my rules so that I can...
One of the funniest things is, they have, like, during the Battle City arc, they have, like, regular people wandering around of, like, why can't I drive down this road? It's like, beat it, Gramps, we're playing Duel Monsters. It's like, how did a game book out an entire city? It's like, oh, Kyber paid for it. Oh, fuck's sake, Kyber!
So do you have any schedule of where and when people are going to be playing so that we know where to drive? No. It's just random at any point.
I do love the idea as well that he says, like, anyone can challenge me. But that's the thing you've got to respect about him, that he does it and he says, anyone can challenge me to a fist fight. Mm-hmm. Like, if you want to challenge me, but I'll win in one turn, and it's really stupid to try and challenge Kyber because he's like a fucking billionaire.
Imagine just, like, having that deck where you're like, oh, yeah, I've got some, powerful fiends and bugs that I'm going to send out, and then just... oh, turn one Obelisk.
That's what he does. He gets, I think it's... there's the bit where he's testing Obelisk, and he programs the AI to fight against him, and the AI summons, like, 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons on the first turn. Like, he duels against his own AI to get better.
I want to test the power of my new Egyptian God card. And the best test of Obelisk the Tormentor's strength is against the might of the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon.
It is very funny how, like, sometimes they do kind of play to some variant of Yu-Gi-Oh! Rules, and then other times it's like...
it's all bullshit, right?
Whatever. Just whatever the anime needs, whatever the heart of the cards tells you at the time.
Yeah, that's one of the things that makes the show so fun to watch, because, like, I know what all the cards do, so when I'm seeing them, it's like, that's not what that card does.
Karl, if you know what all the cards do, what does Jar of Greed do?
Jar of Greed is the trap card that lets you draw one card. I think you mean Pot of Greed, Lucas.
I do mean Pot of
Greed. Yes! You got it wrong! Fake Yu-Gi-Oh! Fan got it! Anyway, let's move on. Kyber also seeks to become the greatest dueler of duel monsters. To accomplish this goal, he must defeat his arch-rival, Yugimoto.
Yeah, and, like, it's pretty rough that he's trying to beat Yugi, because Yugi just cheats.
Yeah, and if people don't know what Lucas is talking about there, it's established in the anime and the original manga that when they say, like, believe in the heart of the cards, that's not like anime bullshit of, if you believe hard enough, fuck's sake, don't text me when I'm working. That's not anime bullshit of, if you just believe hard enough, like, you'll draw the card that you need. Like, what's happening there is, fate is literally conspiring to give Yugi whatever card he needs in that moment.
The deck, it senses my doubt. Don't lose focus, Yugi. Don't lose faith. Concentrate. Huh?
He is altering reality to give him the card that he needs to win. He is cheating. Because the power of his puzzle is to manipulate probability. Mm-hmm. That's the joke we make, right? He should play Joey's deck, which relies on luck and probability, because he'd win every time.
And that's the thing, when other characters refer to, like, oh, I should do what Yugi does and believe in the heart of the cards, they're just believing in, like, faith.
Yeah, that's just anime bullshit. Like, when Joey does that, when he's fighting Marek, of like, I need to draw a good card. That's straight up, he's just really lucky. When it's Yami Yugi or Yugimoto battling, and they say I believe in the heart of the cards, it's just, no, they're manipulating luck to give them the card that they need. And do you know there's actually an episode where they take advantage of that, and it's so fucking funny.
Oh, is there?
So, you might not have gotten this far into the manga, Luke, because one of the reasons I was inspired to rewatch it is I randomly came across a clip from later in the show where like the Pharaoh is dueling for Yugi's soul, because Yugi's like trapped in a card and he's dueling Weevil. And what Weevil does is he pretends to rip the card that has Yugi's soul in it, and the Pharaoh gets really, really mad. And he uses the card Berserker Soul. And do you know what the card Berserker Soul does by any chance?
I don't remember now.
I can still play this! Go, Berserker Soul!
What are you gonna do with that?
Berserker Soul, in a nutshell, allows you to attack multiple times in one turn, provided that the monster you're attacking with has less than 1,500 attack points. So, 1,500 attack points or less, and that you can draw another monster card.
I've drawn Queen's Knight! And since it's a monster, my warrior can attack!
And remember, Lucas, the Spirit of the Millennium Puzzle lets the Pharaoh or Yugi draw whatever card they want. But then there's another quirk to the way Berserker Soul works, because he uses this to defeat Weevil. And keep in mind, it's a shadow game, so every time he hits him, he feels that pain for real. Mm-hmm. Like, Weevil's like, oh, at least it's over. And the Pharaoh's like, well, it's not the end of my turn.
I draw again! Another monster!
Let's start drawing. Let's see what else I've got, baby. and I can't decide whether the English dub or the original Japanese voices are better. Because in the Japanese version, it's just the guy and he screams, Doro! Monster Kado! And he does it like 18 times in a row. And it's like got the anime cuts and everything.
Doro! Monster Kado! Doro! Monster Kado!
But in the English version, you have the voice actor just talking as if they're taking the piss of like, I wonder if I have another monster card. Oh, would you guess it's a monster card? And then he draws like the 6th monster card in a row. He's like, well, it just isn't your day, is it, Weevil?
This just isn't your day!
Jesus Christ. I mean, I was about to say send that man to the Shadow Realm, but he already did, and he still keeps going.
That's the thing, yeah. He top decks like 8 monster cards in a row, using his ability to manipulate fate to beat Weevil's ass.
And obviously the fact that people are going to bring up is that the Shadow Realm is just like the creation for kids, right?
Yeah, you're dead. When they say you go to the Shadow Realm, it's like, no, they're going to straight up fucking kill you.
They don't mess around in the Japanese version, right? They just say, like, oh yeah, you're dead.
And a good example of this that I watched recently, because I've been rewatching the entire series, is, oh, look, these are dark energy blades that will send your soul to the Shadow Realm if they touch you. In the original, it's like, no, they're just fucking chainsaws. They're just chainsaws. Here we have, Lucas, several sections about Kaiba, but the first one is conception, because the conception behind Kaiba is super fun. So are you familiar with this story? I think we talked about it on an episode of Fact Fiend a few years ago.
I was going to say, I'm sure you've mentioned it in the past, but I don't really remember it.
Okay, so the inspiration for the character of Seto Kaiba, as mentioned here, is Kaiba is based on a collectible card games player whom a friend of original Yu-Gi-Oh! Author and illustrator Kazuki Takahashi met. Takahashi's friend asked this person to teach him how to play a card game, but they replied, according to Takahashi, come back when you have collected 10,000 cards. They were that dipshit. This story made Takahashi mad, but thought the player would make a good character.
Fair.
And I think anyone who's ever tried to get into any sort of like niche hobby has encountered this guy, right? Lucas, if you, me and you have played lots of card games and nerdy games in the past, we've all encountered this guy, right?
Yeah, like card games, fighting games, anything that's like very, potentially super competitive where people go to tournaments and take it super seriously, that tends to breed that kind of person a bit more.
Yeah, and here's just a pro tip. Try your hardest not to become that person, because no one likes that person.
Mm-hmm.
They might like winning, but no one likes playing with them. And myself and Lucas have, on multiple occasions, met that guy. To the point where, like, the place we met in just a casual video gaming society in university. It's like, hey, come in once a week. We have a bunch of consoles set up, play some Mario Kart, play some Tekken, grab yourself a cup of tea, then afterwards we go to the bar and have a drink. There was a couple of guys who would come to that meetup every single week and just sit on whatever console had a fighting game on it, beat everyone's ass, refuse to leave.
And then it got to the point where, like, obviously, we wanted to make it a welcome space for anybody. So, like, we didn't ask
society, right? We took it over.
Yeah, we didn't ask them to leave, but it did result in a lot of other people not coming back. And then when we spoke to those people later down the line, it was like, yeah, these couple of guys just were like absolute arseholes, so we'll stop coming.
And I think before we move on, Lucas, I should tell the story of when at least one of those guys left and never came back, much to the relief of basically everybody else in that society. And that's when two of our mutual friends came along for a meeting. One of them is quite good at fighting games. The other one is 6'5" and about that wide as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the former, who's good at fighting games, played one of these guys and just picked Ken in Street Fighter, I think. Well, it's going to be Ken if it was in Street Fighter, but in some version of Street Fighter, and just did 5 forward throws in a row. And beat the guy by just doing forward throw over and over again. The guy who was self-professed the best at fighting games there got really, really annoyed, called them cheap, and then flung the controller against the wall. The controller that happened to belong to the other friend, the one who's 6'5", who was stood behind, watched this happen, and just said, "That's my controller." At which point that guy stood up, left the room, and we never saw them again. Ever, right? I don't think I ever saw them just walking around uni. I think they might have left uni.
I don't remember ever seeing them again past that point, no.
Yeah, it's like, again, don't be that guy. It's really easy to just not be that guy, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, you would think so anyway, but apparently it's harder than it seems.
Yeah, and now getting back to Kaiba's inspiration, Takahashi had originally considered making Kaiba the heir to a gaming company and having challenge Yugi using strange games he continuously comes up with. But on short notice ended up having him play Yugi at Duel Monsters a second time. Because that's like, the manga became really popular, it's the card game, became kind of more popular than the concept of playing multiple different kinds of games. And Kaiba as a character became quite popular as well, so just Yugi and Kaiba just have this now Vegeta and Goku-esque rivalry of continually playing this single card game against each other to determine who is the best. And much like, Goku and Vegeta, Yugi sees it as a friendly rivalry, whereas Kaiba like, fucking I hate that guy! To the point where he creates like a virtual reality recreation of Yugi that he specifically has the engineers model his hair exactly so that he can challenge him in virtual reality to try and get, some semblance of his ego back.
I went to a great deal of trouble recreating the Pharaoh's deck, strategies, even his perfectly coiffed hair. In fact, that part is what took the longest.
I also love as well that he builds a fucking spaceship that looks like a Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Oh my god.
And just flies around in it.
Wouldn't you, though, Karl?
If I was that rich, I'd do it all the time. And Lucas, there's one final thing about Kaiba I think we should cover here, and that is his abilities. So, what do you recall about Kaiba's abilities within the show?
He's got the ability to send Yugi's... Oh, hang on. He's got the ability to, send Yugi's grandpa to the Shadow Realm. Straight up, isn't it episode 1 he just kills Yugi's granddad?
I think episode 1 he just beats up an old man to steal his fucking Blue Eyes White Dragon. Oh, we're going to say abilities. Throughout the series, Kaiba has proven himself one of the most astute, accomplished, and formidable businessmen investors in the world. A child prodigy and polymorphic genius, he excels at virtually any skill or area of study he applies himself to. With a natural aptitude and raw talent since his teenage years, he has successfully reinvented and ran his worldwide corporation, while also pursuing a passion for games. And that's the thing, he built up Kyber Corp to this billion-dollar, like, multinational conglomerate just to play games.
Yeah, and you've got to respect him, though, because it's not like he's pissing all their money away. He successfully runs, like, Battle City and shit.
Yeah, that's the thing, like, he's not like Elon Musk of, like, pouring millions of dollars into ego projects. His shit is actually worth money, and his corporation is constantly at the top of, like, whatever the Fortune 500 equivalent of the Yugi universe is. Because of this technology that is almost entirely reliant on Kyber's own genius. It's just that he then uses that technology to play video games.
And until I do, my scars of defeat will continue to burn. Fire whoever designed that bottle. Kyber Corp's products shouldn't bend that easily.
Yes, understood.
But then he also makes money playing those video games, or, like, card games, because he then makes entire, like, massive projects out of, you know, getting other people to come and play games with it.
Like we said, he creates virtual, like, you know, functional virtual reality technology so that Hitatsumi Giant's arsehole can be rendered in 4K. Right?
Yeah.
I also love as well, it's like, that's one of the great things about the show, of like, when they go, like, meet Pegasus, and it's like, oh, you invented duel monsters. Spoilers, he didn't invent duel monsters. They were based on an ancient, like, Egyptian game where they'd actually summon monsters that he'd ripped off or whatever. And, like, the idea that Pegasus makes his own cards is so funny to me. And then he loses. He loses with special cards that only he has.
Yep. And the one scary thing to me when you say, like, the ancient Egyptian card game and stuff, like, things like, for example, Dark Magician, that was actually somebody's soul that they'd put inside of a card.
Yes.
Like, any of the humanoid-based characters, like a Dark Magician Girl, that kind of thing,
they're real
like,
people,
all of the knights, they literally just stole people's souls and put them inside these cards for their amusement.
Once there was a warrior so powerful that every time he used his sword, the world shook. He caused so much devastation that this swordmaster feared his own power. So he decided to do something about it. He built a suit of iron to limit his strength. And from then on, he became known as Gearfried the Iron Knight.
Which is why, like, Yugi's whole thing of respecting the cards, like, you know, is a pretty good idea, because not all of them, but some of the cards do have a mind of their own. Like, there's the battle he has against Arcana, where Arcana's like, well, I'm the better user of the Dark Magician. And, like, he chats shit about the Dark Magician when it's on the field, and the Dark Magician's like, I don't like this. And whereas Yugi likes his Dark Magician, and his Dark Magician just comes out and beats down Arcanas.
Is that the Dark Magician that's just, for some reason, red and never explained?
Well, it's Arcana's Dark Magician, yeah, and it's like just a different version of the card, which he treats as a tool, whereas Yugi treats it as a friend.
You relied on trickery to win, instead of trusting and respecting the heart of the card.
And Kyber is similar. He treats his duel monsters as tools, and he will cast them aside if he finds more powerful ones, but he is always committed to his Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Well, until Obelisk becomes, like, the big Dick G, but
I do like that, though. He even styled his coat to like a Blue Eyes. What a fucking nerd. What a fucking nerd. Yeah. So good. Having spent several years as the undefeated world champion in various games, including Duel Monsters and chess, in addition to his shrewd business acumen and gaming aptitude, while having no known university degree, Kyber is incredibly skilled with science and technology, most notably programming and engineering. He specialises in computer software, programming, building cutting-edge technological software and hardware, such as the development of Kyber Corp's high-tech dual discs and advanced solid vision technology. Like, he should be in Metal Gear, right?
Yeah,
it should be fucking Metal Gear.
Oh man, imagine Metal Gear, but you're just like summoning Metal Gears with cards.
There probably is a card that's based on Metal Gear. Do you know there's an entire archetype in Yu-Gi-Oh! Based on Star Wars? And it's really good. Or it was really good before it got like power crept. And one of the cards is like just the fucking Death Star.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. It's like, one of the things I like about Yu-Gi-Oh! Is like, the archetypes are usually based on something in the real world, sometimes combined with something else. So the Star Wars, like, archetype, I think it's Cosmo, is based on a combination of Star Wars and the Wizard of Oz.
Ooh,
so, for example, like, Luke Skywalker is Dorothy. So it's like Dorothy with a lightsaber. And isn't that really cool when, like, the Darth Vader is the Wicked Witch?
Oh, sweet, yeah.
And again, that deck was quite good, but it isn't now. But I think I've got a couple of the cards, just I really like the artwork.
Mm-hmm.
So I have Do you remember our mutual friend who had to give up all his Yu-Gi-Oh cards?
I do.
Do you do? Because here's a story, right? So, not on screen right now, but somewhere in this house, there is. I have a stacker box that is filled with Yu-Gi-Oh cards and Magic the Gathering cards, because a mutual friend of mine and Lucas's got a girlfriend. And when they bought a place together, the girlfriend said, you need to get rid of your Yu-Gi-Oh Magic cards, and he gave them to me.
Mm-hmm.
And one day, I will go through those Magic cards and those Yu-Gi-Oh cards, because supposedly there's some expensive stuff in there, because he had really, really good early Yu-Gi-Oh competitive decks, some of which have very valuable cards in them, because they were first edition printings. Same with his Magic cards.
You say, like, somewhere in your flat.
Yeah.
Are you not like me? Do you not keep your Yu-Gi-Oh cards within arm's reach at all times?
Well, I could go get them.
Should
I do that?
People won't be able to see, but I literally on my desk just like grabbed my entire box of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I'll do?
Right, after we finish with the Kaiba wiki, I'll go grab like the box that has like his decks in. So I've got a box that has all of his spares, and I've got a box that had his decks. I'll go grab them, and I'll show them to the camera. And if anyone out there is like, a big Yu-Gi-Oh fan, and happens to notice that any of those are particularly valuable, let us know in the comments. I'll go down to our Discord, and just, if you want it, I can send it to you. I guess I'll have to sell it, because what I've promised that friend that I will do is, after he gave them all to me, is, if they ever end up being worth money, I'm not just going to sell them and keep all the money, mate. I will get the money to you, but I've just never had an opportunity to do so. So I'll go grab it and I'll go through the various things. If anyone out there has any insight into whether or not they are valuable, let us know. If there's something in there that you'd want, let us know. Make me an offer. And I'll split that money with that friend. So I'm sure he'll appreciate just randomly getting a text from me of like, I sent you like 50 quid in the mail or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then he can go to his girlfriend and be like, haha, I told you they were worth keeping. And finally, Lucas, about Kaiba, it says here he is also very athletic, deceptively so, able to nimbly land from high jumps and is a proficient hand-to-hand fighter, easily defeating some of Pegasus's elite guards, showing deceptive raw strength. And that's where I think the thing that put me on my fucking ass is there is a bit where it's like Kaiba has to stop a guy from pressing a button. And keep in mind, Kaiba's like 6'1".
Mm-hmm.
And he could just walk up and punch the guy. He throws his blue eyes white dragon at him. What a flex. Keep in mind, there's 3 of these fucking things in the world. And he throws a blue eyes white dragon at the guy to knock him out.
To knock him out?
To knock him out. He knocks him out by throwing blue eyes at him.
Say hello to my blue eyes white dragon card! Take this!
Keep in mind, the blue eyes, he offered to buy it for like $1 billion on the first episode of the manga. Of the anime. So he throws a $1 billion card, that's not in a sleeve. It's not in a protective sleeve, because Kaiba wouldn't do that, and throws it at a guy to knock out when he could have walked over and pushed him over.
Like, that is the one thing in the anime, isn't it? Of like, none of them ever use sleeves.
Nope.
It's just raw dogging it.
It's also as well, I just love that, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is so good for using, like, just random screenshots from it as just reaction images. And I love the one of, like, when you turn 21 and the guy asks for your ID and it's just Kaiba throwing the card. Speaking of card sleeves, you know what I've got in front of me, Lucas? There's a present I bought for you. And you've not seen this yet, have you? So I recently got back into the Pokemon trading card game. So a mutual friend of ours, hey, Karl, do you want to play Pokemon? I went, sure. And while I was just, like, buying like spares and stuff to build a few decks to play against them, I thought I'd pick something up for you, and I thought I'd pick up your favourite Pokemon. So I can show it to the camera. Is it for you?
It's the little shiny Charger Bug.
And I'll tell you what, would you like to explain why the Radiant Charger Bug, or the Shiny Charger Bug, is something that you would be mad hyped to own, as I go grab the aforementioned Yu-Gi-Oh decks from the other room?
Of course, yeah. And it's one of those, like, when Sun and Moon came out, where Charger Bug debuted, I wasn't, I was a fan of Charger Bug, but I wasn't like, oh my god, this is the greatest thing of all time. And then I was just one day scrolling through like Pokemon Shinies and noticed that, oh, Shiny Charger Bug is red. And Charger Bug is like a bug bus. And I'm like, oh my god, it's like the red London buses. That's the joke, that's the gag. And it just made me appreciate Charger Bug so much more when I just realised that, like, oh my god, its shiny version is like the little red bus.
Yep. And so what I did is, while I was buying, just like I said, buying some singles to, like, just bulk out my decks, I could actually play the game, noticed that one of the singles was for Radiant Charger Books. I thought I'll buy that, and the next time me and Lucas hang out in person, I will give him that card. And speaking of cards, Lucas, it makes it even sadder because when I pulled out the box, it's in like the box from when he was a little kid. And it says like Essential Boys stuff on there, like it says Lego Dinosaur Secret Weapon or something mouldy. So I've not actually opened this in like, I want to say like 3-4 years. Because he gave it to me. I went through them all, obviously, for nostalgia, and then closed it again. And I've not opened it since. This is like opening up like the Millennium Puzzle. So let's see what's in here. And I might not be too familiar with some of the decks that he used, because I kind of like dropped off Yu-Gi-Oh! Very quickly. But I am aware via my mimetic reputation that some of them are quite valuable. So we have right away, oh god. So some of these decks aren't in like boxes, but they are in sleeves. So, we've got his Arcana Force deck. Is Arcana Force worth anything, you think? I don't know. You know what? Yu-Gi-Oh! Heads let us know. Ooh, it's got a Cup of Ace. I'm
going to say no. But, like, this is me just randomly guessing, by the way. It's not me telling you yes or no with, like, any level of knowledge.
But it does have stuff in there, like, you know, Reborn the Monster. Like a first edition printing of, like, Reborn the Monster.
Good old banned card that can't be used anymore.
Yeah. I think it can be used now. I think it's
that's the thing, right? Is things come in and out of the ban list all the time.
I've got his Blue Eyes White Dragon deck. You know, speaking of Kyber, kept in, and this is what I think all kids from like our generation did, is those bags you'd use to put pennies in before you took them to the bank, right? Because they're just like, you know, big enough to keep a deck of cards in. So you keep your Yu-Gi-Oh! Decks in those. So he's got his Blue Eyes deck. Lucas, guess what he's got in his Blue Eyes deck right on top? 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons!
Now, on my next turn, all 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons are free to attack.
Kyber would be so proud. He's got polymerization
if
in there.
any of those are Legend of Blue Eyes, original Blue Eyes, then
these are
that'd be valuable.
I think one of them's original and one's a reprint. He's got Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. That's right there. He's got the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, Masked Dragon, Lord of D, Refusion, Mirage Dragon, another Monster Reborn. So you know he was legit because he had multiple like Monster Reborns. Oh, it's got all sorts
That's
of
the
bullshit.
thing, right? It's like, I believe the actual, like, original, like, LOB, Legend of Blue Eyes.
It could be.
Blue Eyes is valuable.
I wouldn't know. That's the thing. I know there's, like, something to do with, like, these little dots at the I know it'd be something to do with, like, the markings at the bottom, but I'm not sure how to read those. But again, if anyone out there does have any insight into what these would be worth, or if they are something that would still be something people would want, let us know in the Discord or the comments section below. He's got here a Fire King deck. I'm not going to open all of these because he's got a lot. There's a Fire King deck. There's a Dark Magician deck. Actually, I think this was my deck that I put in here when I got it off him. Yeah, it is. This is my original Dark Magician deck. You can tell it's mine because it's not in card sleeves, so I don't fuck with that shit. It's like the weird, like, inverted Dark Magician. That's the deck that I had that was like brain control and stuff in there.
I mean, I'm looking here, Karl. A Legend of Blue Eyes rated 10, like, Portuguese first edition on eBay that's going for £19,000.
Okay, so maybe I've got 19 grand in my back pocket. He's got a Cyber Dinosaur deck. I think there's so much cool fucking shit, man. Cyber Dinosaurs. We've got more. We've got Shadow, the Monarch deck. Not sure if Monarch deck is... you can tell what they kept in.
God.
He's just kept in a sandwich bag.
At least they're all in sleeves, right?
Most of them are. I think some of them aren't, though. Oh, Lucas, speaking of Kyber, we've got an Obelisk the Tormentor. Double sleeved.
Oh, my God.
A double-sleeved Obelisk the Tormentor. Limited edition. It only says limited edition on there, so I'm not sure if that's worth anything. People can let us know.
It's all about the little code in the bottom.
It is,
right?
Because I'm not sure how to read that. We've got just a few of his... oh, here we go. A couple of his just sleeved cards that are... Oh, wait. Guess what he's got in here, Lucas? Guess what I fucking found? Guess what's in here? Man-Eater Bug! Oh. Just Man-Eater Bug is hidden there. But some of his like random sleeve cards. Cause I recognise a couple of these. The Crush Card Virus. Remember that being like a thing? Wasn't that banned for a while? He's got 1,000 Dragon, a Blackluster Soldier, more Blue Eyes.
If I remember, the Crush card was like one of those weird ones where in the anime it was broken as hell, and then
they released a
actually in the game it wasn't very useful.
I think it's because
if I remember right,
he had like 4 or 5 erratas, which are just like they reword the card because initially it was super broken, and then they reworded it to the point where, because that's the thing about Yu-Gi-Oh! If people aren't too familiar with the series of, a lot of the very early cards were outright banned or were deemed to be too powerful because their wording is so broad, and with how just granular Yu-Gi-Oh! Became, cards with very widely interpreted effects became super powerful. For example, Pot of Greed. Draw 2 cards. Drawing 2 cards without any penalty is too powerful an effect to just let a player have, because it is essentially the perfect card, because it's just a card that gives you 2 more cards. There is no reason not to play as many copies of it in your deck as possible.
Yeah, whereas the one I remember, because that's the one that didn't get banned, Jar of Greed, which I would have in my decks, was like, you've got to put it down as a trap card, and then like the next turn you can get 1 free card.
Yep, I've got his dinosaur deck with Big Evolution Pill. I'm not sure what dinosaurs are in there, but the fact it's not sleep probably means it's not worth a lot. There's a whole bunch of stuff in there, like Dark Triceratops, just more of his dinosaur shit. Again, not in any sort of card or anything. But, like, there's more.
Now, you say that they had like the magic cards.
Yes.
Did you ever do the check for like that super rare like Black Lotus or whatever it was?
For Magic, I'll have to have a look again, because this is like the Yu-Gi-Oh cards. The Magic cards this is like a small box. The Magic box is a stacker box. Do you know a 50-litre stacker box? I think it's under my bed.
Oh, right.
Do you want? Okay. Should I try and get it out just to show people how many fucking Magic cards there is? He's got
Let's not
a Kaiju
go down
deck,
that rabbit hole.
A Heroic Challenger deck, and then I think that's it. And then, like I said, there's just like 500 loose singles in there for bolstering out decks. I'll tell you what, I won't get the cards out, but what I will do is I will get the box so people can like appreciate how many fucking Magic cards the guy had. And I'll tell you what, if people go to our Discord and bug me about it, I will start to go through them. I will do like a thing where I will like live stream in the Discord going through them, and then if anyone out there fucking knows and they want to like, you know, give me some advice on, hey, this shit's worth money, we can do that. And I think that'd be a nice surprise for that friend after like 5 years to just get a random thing in the mail of me just sending them the money minus my cut. And Luke, while I do that, why don't you plug our Patreon, because we need to make some fucking money, because I've got to crawl under my bed now. So everyone give me a sec.
Yeah, of course, we do have our Patreon where you can go and support us further, and just, you know, we've got like the $1 tier where you can make sure you take part in our Pet of the Week competition that we do for the podcast, and then you can also have the $5 version where on that tier you can do a monthly vote for a video topic that we're going to discuss for the next month. And of course, at the moment, like, we've got polls up for like Karl's going to talk about game shows, and I'm going to talk about a classic film. But I think by the time this video's out, those polls are probably done and the video's already been recorded. But we'll probably have a new vote up by then.
Yeah, so just for Magic cards, for purpose, like, here's like one of his Magic decks. Here's his red cards. Here's his white cards. Here's his blue cards. Here is the black cards. Here's
Karl's opening up a game
tokens
shop.
and artifacts, etc. Again, these have never been opened since like he gave them to me. And here's the green ones. So yeah, I literally am like, I cannot hold all these cards. So if anyone out there has any insight and wants to, because I know people out there, they love like is it like pack opening videos? I don't know what these mean, but I'll happily go through them if people want to see that. So let us know in the comments below. And I think one thing that's in here that's kind of funny is, I think it's where I just put like a bunch of like random singles that I collected. In here I have a Ninjask, a random Ninjask, a deck of playing cards I stole from a hotel in Las Vegas, and yeah, just more Magic cards. Cheers, everybody. See you all next time. Find the fucking mouse. It's just buried under cards.
It's time to do